Raise Your Energy podcast. My name is Linde and I am your host. In last week's episodes, we talked about the emotion of unworthiness. We clarified what it means, how it can show up in your life, and what the consequences are of having the feeling of unworthiness inside of us, consciously or unconsciously. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how do we move from unworthiness to worthiness. So stay tuned. Week's episode that I am working through my feeling of unworthiness, and everything I listed in last week's episodes resonates as well with me, some more and some others a little bit less. Let's briefly review them again one more time so we know how unworthiness shows up in our lives. So the first one was by feeling guilty or punishing yourself for your current situation in your life, as if it would be your fault. The second one was feelings of not deserving something. Thirdly, it was limiting your potential based on your current situation or your upbringing. And then lastly, we talked about that feelings of unworthiness really mean that you're self-sabotaging your efforts and your hard work, or that you're even stuck in inaction. If I'm really honest with myself, then I can find evidence for all of these in my life in certain situations or at certain times. For sure, I have programs of patterns and behaviors and beliefs that make me self-sabotage myself and let me be still stuck and in inaction in certain areas of my life. And by raising the awareness now, by having received that message that I want to feel more worthy in my life, I say no more to all of that. Now that I raised that awareness of these patterns and these feelings, I call myself out when I see it happening or when I become aware of it in my everyday life. And I say to myself, Linda, stop it. Now, the question is, what else can we do to move from unworthiness to worthiness? Breaking, of course, these kind of patterns, beliefs, and behaviors of unworthiness is a first good way. But something else showed up for me that I want to share with you today, and that is integrity. Integrity in my life and in my environment. And that means with the people in my life. But much more importantly, it's about integrity with myself. It's looking closer at what that actually means. So let's do that together. And hopefully we can then find out how we can move from unworthiness to worthiness. The first step in the whole process is to take ownership for your life. And that means for everything that is currently in your life, but as well for what has happened in the past, what happened to you, what you did as well in your past. It's about not blaming your environment or other people or your circumstances in your life, because that means that you are giving your power away. And we have talked about this in several episodes before, that if you give your power away, then you are not in your full power. You do not have access to your full power to make significant and lasting changes in your life. So if you want to fundamentally change something about yourself, then you want to take your power back. So that means completely accepting your life, take responsibilities for your actions, and take ownership of who you are, who you have become, and everything that comes with it. Just say, yes, that's who I am, and I'm the creator of my life. I created all of this. So that is the first step that we want to get to be able to move as well with our full power into a change. And of course, we're trying as well here to change from unworthiness to worthiness. And that is a huge change in itself. So, talking about integrity, feeling worthy is really deeply connected with integrity. If you follow your truth, if you do what you say you will do, you are in integrity. Your words have power, they have meaning. You are literally your words if you are in integrity. That does not mean pushing yourself to do something that you don't really want to do. It's about moving with grace into the unknown, taking the next steps and stepping out of that comfort zone with the trust that you will be okay. Remember in the previous episode, we talked about how the feeling of unworthiness or undeserving can show up as inaction in our lives. Do you remember that? Yeah. So not following through on your plans, on your dreams, not taking that next step, that's inaction. And that means as well that you're out of integrity because you're not moving, you're not saying that you're doing what you want to do to become your future self and to fulfill your dream and to take the next step in your plan. The good news is that you can decide to be in integrity every minute of every day in your life. Please stop judging anything that happened before. If you've been out of integrity before and you find certain areas where that was the case, stop judging yourself. That won't help you. Stop being upset when you realize that there is this really huge area where, yes, you said you would do something and you just didn't. Just don't do that. Just decide to step now into integrity for yourself and for others. You can decide to just start now with a clean slate and move into integrity with yourself right this second, right now. It means that you keep your word for yourself. You follow through with your plans and you just keep to your truth. You speak your words and you follow through. Does that make sense? It does not matter really the outcome of your actions or the results, but that you can say that you did it, that you took action and you gave your best. And when you can say that to yourself, you will feel good about yourself and you feel worthy to receive. You feel like you deserve to move away from these previously felt feelings of unworthiness to being proud and accomplished. Do you see that you can feel actually worthy and deserving without ever having reached even your goal? Can you see that? You can detach yourself from the outcome, from that goal, and create your new state of being, not depending on if you reached it or not. If you go through your life with integrity, take meaningful actions, and be open to feeling sometimes a little bit uncomfortable when you do something new, you feel worthy just for that state of being that you created by yourself. And that is the magical moment when people start suddenly to receive what they wished for. When they are able to feel worthy and deserving without having achieved the goal, that's when it comes. When they stopped waiting to receive and waiting to feel worthy, when they started to feel worthy just by taking actions every day and being more in integrity for themselves. Magic. So how can we be more in integrity, especially for ourselves? How does it work, right? Not being in integrity means breaking a promise to yourself. It's areas in your life where you've been given your words and you haven't followed through. Your ego wants to hide your lack of integrity. Your ego, you remember we talked about a couple of episodes ago, it doesn't like change and it likes to be in positive emotions. So it will rush over that you have not kept your words on something, and it will find justifications. It will find excuses. It will find circumstances and the cause why you haven't followed through with something. So we don't really experience quite often that out of integrity as being out of integrity. We kind of lie to ourselves. So you can catch yourself when you hear yourself saying statements like, I don't feel like it. Let's start tomorrow. Or there's just not enough time. I can't get it done. I just won't make it. Or the weather is just making me feel tired. I don't think I can get this done today. So watch out for statements like that, because they can be excuses, or they're highly likely to be excuses for yourself of not stepping out of your comfort zone and taking actions. And it's kind of a bit of a trap and an indicator that you might be not being in integrity with yourself at this moment in time. So check yourself when you hear yourself saying these kind of statements. And don't take it personally when you become aware of it. It's not about beating yourself up. It's not about judging yourself or punishing yourself for not having accomplished something. You know, integrity is either there or it's not. It's either switched on or it's off. It's for you to see how powerful and important it is in your life to follow through on your word, to keep your promise to yourself. And why is that so important? It's important because you can step away from feelings of unworthiness, judgment, guilt, disappointment, shame, and anger. And you can move yourself by being in integrity to feelings of worthiness, proudness, accomplishment, satisfaction, just by taking action, just for your efforts. If you want to move towards being more in integrity with yourself, stop making promises that you probably won't keep. Stop giving your word for something that you actually don't want to do. It's that easy. You don't want to make that commitment, just don't do it. If you don't do it, you won't be out of integrity. It's that easy. You want to be your word. Actually, you are already your word all the time, your whole life. You might just not have realized it so far. But if you are not your word, if you don't keep your word, you create stress in your system. You create feelings of unworthiness, dissatisfaction with yourself, and you're creating stress and chemical reactions in your body that are not serving you. When you become aware of an area in your life where you have not been your word, so what do? You own up to it. You just accept it. You just say, okay, fine, that's it. And now I move on and I step again into integrity for myself. If this area in your life is impacting other people that are part of your life, then communicate even to them that you realize that you were out of integrity, but that you made a decision now that you're going to move into integrity. Can you imagine how powerful it is going to be for your and your relationships with these people or with that one person if you can communicate this to them? If you can be so open to say, yes, I have been out of integrity. I didn't keep my word, but now I made the decision to move on and to move into integrity. And this is now my word, and I'm going to keep it. Can you see that you have an opportunity here to use that communication, that conversation with that person as kind of a contracting with yourself, and they can even helping you to stay in your integrity and keep you along and support you on your way. So be brave and even communicate this, be vulnerable and open up to that other person if that is what this area in your life is about. You know what? All of this is really simple, but it is not easy. We can be out of integrity all the time without us knowing and realizing that this is a reason why we feel unworthy, why we feel upset, and why we feel shame. When you make this decision to be in integrity with yourself and others, you claim your power back, right? You get energy back, and that energy that you receive back into your life can fuel these actions that keep you in integrity with yourself. So make a list of all of these areas you might have been out of integrity in your life. You want to find opportunities in your life to restore your integrity. You want to spend more of your time during your day in integrity and bring more worthiness, more accomplishment and satisfaction with yourself in your world. This is not about becoming now the integrity police, okay? This is not about you walking around and judging everybody who's out of integrity or judging yourself when you catch yourself being out of integrity. This is a process. This is a practice. It's moving into integrity bit by bit. And it can become a habit. It can become an automated program that is in your subconscious. And the more it is a program, the more it is a habit, the easier it gets for you to be in integrity all the time. But it needs practice. You want to practice it. You actually want to unlearn how to be out of integrity and give your words to something that you actually don't want to do. And you want to relearn how to be in integrity and how to keep your word and how to choose where you want to keep your word and where you want to give your word. Does that make sense to you? And does this then mean that you will actually never be out of integrity ever again? No, because every time you go for bigger goals or bigger achievements, or you do something new, you will be more out of integrity again, because things might take longer than you expected, or they just don't work out like you thought they would. But that's okay. It's normal and it's expected in these kind of situations. So I hope I have inspired you to want to feel more worthy in your life, to be more in integrity with yourself. And please, this is not something that you keep in your mind as a great idea. This is a concept that you need to live every day, that you actually have to experience for it to work. So please do not keep this as knowledge and as a concept just in your head and think that it's going to work itself out. No. You want to move into action. You want to actually apply it. You want to write that list and you want to select an area where you can practice to move again into integrity for yourself today, okay? Thank you so much for listening to me, and make sure to share this episode with a loved one, with somebody who can benefit from this message. Or even better, share it with as many friends and loved ones and family members as possible for you all to practice integrity and for you all to feel more worthy in your life together. Would that not be great? Yes, it would. So thank you so much. And with that, I love you and leave you. Talk soon and bye-bye.